Hello, everyone. I am Jeff Mach, Dark Lord, and I am beyond honored to be joined, virtually speaking, in the studio by the one and only, the amazing Feline of Feline and Strange. Hello and welcome.
Hello, and thank you for making me blush.
My pleasure.
All hail to the Dark Lord.
See, I knew I should have put the cloak on, only
No, maybe not. You've got an inner cloak, I'm sure.
I like that. I'm going to use that. The inner
I
cloak.
keep saying when I'm playing at a steampunk show and I don't wear a corset, I have my corset under my skin. So
Oh, that's that would be a definitively bone corset.
yeah.
Hardcore. So, thank you again for being a part of Goth Aid.
Oh, it was so much fun. Thank you. And it was an honor to open it. And thanks to time zones.
Was it
Still weird, but it was definitely the first time we ever played in the US without entering a plane. So very comfortable.
We'll see. We look on the bright side.
Trying my best.
I mean, I always did want to live in the future, and I always did want to live in a time when we would have amazing computer technology that would just let us communicate with other countries, other places, other planets. I kind of was hoping, but that part has not happened just yet. Oh, I see. We oughtn't tell anyone.
We don't talk about that in public, you
Don't
know.
talk about that.
But yeah, you're totally right. I mean, try to imagine all this had happened in a time like 1990. Just try to imagine that.
I mean, on the one hand, I'm horrified, and on the other hand, I'm just thinking I would be at home watching MTV all day long.
Yeah, probably.
If you'll pardon me, I need just a sip of gin.
Cheers. There's always a time for gin. Oh, the chief is trying to sneak in.
Oh, is he?
Is he? But he's hiding behind the door. Like a Boogeyman should. It's Jeff, the Dark Lord himself.
C'est moi.
There's the chief.
Oh my God, Jeff Mach, hi.
How are you, Chief? How is it going?
I didn't hear you. Can't hear you.
Oh, right, of course.
I'm good.
He's asking how you are.
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm Christoph.
That was a sophisticated answer if ever I heard one.
So I have to do my tech stuff.
I quite understand. Don't let me stop.
I don't know what he means. Maybe he's going to learn new texts and now he's making fun of me and he has no idea this is an interview that is going to be released. And yeah, but this is him. I mean, us on stage, who's ever seen us on stage knows that he takes every opportunity to make fun of me, but that's all right.
I mean, he's still alive so far.
Yes, so far. No, honestly, he has quite an. Could you say he has an account with me? Maybe that's a German thing to say. Like he can do a lot of fun of me as long as he plays the cello like he does. So.
No, that's. I mean, I actually haven't used the phrase that way myself, but it sounds. I think that's a great idea. It's a good way of explaining why some of my old friends are still alive.
Sounds really, really bookkeepishly German. Now I think about it. Like you have done me so many favors, and you have done me have made so many times fun of me. So right now is the point where you should get cautious. Maybe.
It just sounds very precise, you know. I like that.
Yeah, very German.
So, probably the big opener question that I have is, how are things going for you as a live, in-person performing musician? How is the quarantine experience for you?
You already said it. I'm a live performing musician. I personally think that performing is the one thing in the world I can do best and better than many people. And the stage is the place where I feel at home and secure. And I'm pretty sure we made some very good studio music and some very good videos and stuff, but performing is where I feel home. And of course, it's hard not to know when we can go on a stage again. Also, our drumess, I should say, is not even close. She's in Switzerland and separated by a border from us. And I'm happy to have the chief here so we can do shenanigans and play live streams from time to time, like for Goth 8. It's much more fun than playing alone, of course. But still, the streaming sucks a bit. Playing for a tiny lens instead of an audience, I can hear and see and smell and who breathes with me. And it's terrible not to know when this is going to start again. I mean, it's totally different to like have a kind of hiatus, like, okay, let's not tour for half a year. We are going to make an album. Not even that. We managed to keep from the stage for half a year while we were making the album. I think the maximum amount of not playing was 6 weeks, not even.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm on a coral turkey here. I want my stage, I want my audience. I'd rather play like for 1 or 2 or 3 people in our rehearsal studio than for 1,000 people on the stream. Not that you would say no to 1,000 people on the stream, but still, it's not the same.
It's not.
I miss you. I miss you all terribly. No, it's not.
It's not at all. You know, just the very description of it are things that we are currently being taught to fear. You know, smell the audience, breathe with the audience. You know,
yeah,
these days,
exactly. Hug the audience. This is a big part of me, hugging the audience. Yeah, fuck. Sorry. Am I allowed to say that in an American interview? I don't know.
I think as long as YouTube doesn't mind, it's all right.
I say fuck so very often on YouTube. I mean, I even sing fuck. iTunes marks me as explicit for the 2 songs where I sing fuck, but they haven't even realized that there's 3 more. I haven't found them yet.
Sorry that I keep readjusting my hat. It's
please do. Now it looks like a bonnet. Oh, and yeah.
I'm used to having
also nice.
goggles on it, so I'm not used to being able to do things with it. So this is very exciting for me personally.
Now you look like a kind of judge, or like Q, maybe Q as the judge. Yeah, that's why I think of a judge. You have some similarities with John Delancey, you know that, without the beard.
I did not know that.
The eyebrow, exactly.
I've only been without the beard for, I don't know, 2 weeks or so?
Yeah, I was there. Not even.
It was, oddly enough, when I took the beard off, I mean, people who haven't seen me before wouldn't know this, but all of this was gray. Gray and gray-white. And during the past month and a half of being indoors, it all turned brown again with just these sort of Fantastic Four, Dr. Reed style silver bits on the edges. I don't know. Now I feel bad. I've spent most of the quarantine writing a book. And
what better could you do in quarantine?
It has given me something to do. I mean, I love a stage and I love an audience as well, but there is something that you can get from an audience that you can't get elsewhere, and there's currently just no socially approved way to have an audience of any kind.
Nope. not even like playing from the balcony. This is, I don't know about the States, but here in Europe in general, it has become a thing that musicians either play on the balcony or in the countries where it's still allowed to go on the street, like go to the yards and play music. But the police starts to stop that because if somebody is really good playing on the balcony, people assemble. And so it's like some people have even got a fine for how do you say that? Make people assemble, you know? Yeah, this is silly.
I mean, it's such a weird thing. It's that
it is, and I'm a bit afraid of. I mean, right now there's still some kind of solidarity against musicians, like people asking, "How are you? How can I support you?" Buying merch, like you putting up the Goth 8, and but I'm a pessimist. I think this will end at some point, and there will be the point where, especially in the countries where you got funding or some support from the government, people will turn against us and say, hey, you're just beggars, you're whatever, do a proper job and do some socially accepted job. And they will totally forget that they spent quarantine listening to music, watching live streams, listening to CDs, reading books, Netflixing. I mean, 90% of everything people do in quarantine is made by artists, but I'm pretty sure people will forget that at some point.
What is a book? I don't think I've ever heard of those. I'm also a pessimist, but I do wonder, maybe this is the time to remind people. Maybe this is the time when we ought, as musicians and performers, be specifically reminding people that people who make music, the people who are creating all the content that we are consuming, that's keeping us sane, or in some cases, a kind of insane, which is within reasonable parameters, that these people like yourself, should be treasured, that people like yourself are not terribly replaceable. I mean...
No. I mean, nobody's replaceable, but still. People keep forgetting in the best of times that it takes a lot of effort and time and money to become an artist and make enjoyable work. And so they forget it now even more.
The way my mind works, I'm trying to think of practical ways to remind people. Of course, the sad and silly thing is that there is so much music so abundantly available that you can't particularly ask people to spend a day without music. I don't think anyone is more than a couple of feet away from music at pretty much any hour of the day.
Exactly.
And yet it could all stop. And it would be interesting. Not that I'm in any position to put together an album, but an album of terrible cover songs from the past. People that if we stop making music, we will eventually be left with only whatever music exists so far. And at the rate we consume music, at the rate we consume any entertainment right now, if we don't keep creating more new music, we're just going to start repeating the same old music until basically we're just listening to Jungle Boogie on repeat 700 times in a row.
Yeah. All right. Oh, that's a nice idea. This is definitely something novel. I mean, in the way of creeping people out instead of luring them.
I mean, ordinarily I'm all for luring people towards thinking about art, thinking about creativity. But if I really need to put the Dark Lord hat on and scare people into being aware of artists, maybe I could do this myself because I'm not a terribly good musician. I could just do covers of some of the worst songs of all time. Zager and Evans, In the Year 2525. That's a uniquely terrible song. And,
If you say so, I don't know it.
it was a one-hit wonder that was bigger than most Rolling Stones songs, and it's just
Oh my God. Not in Europe, I guess.
probably not in Europe. These fellows intoning over synthesizer music.
If you compare the charts and like everything that came before the notes, then the charts in Europe and the US are vastly different. Even in the European countries themselves, especially between the UK and the rest of Europe. I mean, the UK are not Europe anymore, but you know what I mean. So I'm always surprised to talk to Americans about music, and they start like singing stuff everybody knows, like songs like these. And I sit there and think, what is that crap? I said, yeah, don't you know it? This is when you realize that you're in a different country.
I do have a unique knowledge of terrible music. About many fascinations in life. I don't know. I could. Last night I could not. I could not get the Sex Pistols version of "The Good Ship Venus" out of my head. Not a song that I record at this time, but just couldn't get those words out of my head. I have. I would like to think that I appreciate excellent music such as yours.
Thank you.
There is a
we all need a bit of crap from time to time.
Thank you for understanding my secretly.
I will not tell you what bands I listened to when I was a teenager. So
yeah, just when I was a teenager, yes.
And sometimes we need to crawl under our blanket and pretend we're teenagers again. Of course, comfort zone.
I like the new Taylor Swift album. I like it quite a lot.
I haven't listened to it yet, but I believe it. I mean, she's an amazing artist and works terribly hard.
She is really, really remarkably talented. I don't know.
Definitely.
Before the quarantine, I was really planning on going to see Cats in the theaters.
The movie, you mean?
The movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if the show is playing anywhere near here. Not that anything's playing near here right now, but everyone was telling me that it was terrible, and I just wanted to experience it. And I feel bad because for decades of my life, I was harshing Cats. I was talking about how it was a bunch of poetry set to music, which is fine, but that doesn't really make it a musical, and it didn't really have a plot and all these other things. And sort of just when I finally relented, I said, you know what? I really enjoyed Cats. I saw it when I was 9 in the theater. We were lucky. I think my dad's job got some free tickets. And
cool.
We had the whole experience that people talk about, the giant junkyard. Of course, I was about this tall, and I really liked it. It was only later on when I became sophisticated that I started to dislike it. And just as I was coming to terms with appreciating this major cultural phenomenon, a whole new generation was introduced to it as just the worst thing of the year. And I felt silly.
I think I was 9 too, or something around this area, maybe 11, when I made my parents take me to a Lord Webber musical. It was Starlight Express. For which they had built a theater close to where I was living. And yeah, I was excited. I wanted to see that. And my parents were like, do we have to? My parents are classical musicians.
Oh.
Yep. And of really very good taste, and try to raise me accordingly. And look what I've become, a nerd. And yeah, but we went there. We went to Starlight Express, and my parents went out afterwards and said, "Okay, that was bloody it's bloody impressive. It was. I mean, if only as fellow artists we could admire the hard work that went into that. I mean, it was like perfect and shining, and to every nuance was planned and executed like planned. This is something I think every performance artist can appreciate.
That was the show that was on roller skates, if I remember.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I had seen a documentary before we went there. That's why I wanted to go there. About how they casted the actors, and some of them had bought their first pairs of roller skates for the audition and tried to prepare themselves right before the casting, right before the audition. It was adventurous, at least. But some of these people who had no idea of roller skating were actually in the show. So.
I don't think that show lasted very long around here. I remember
they still play it in the place where I saw it first. It's still there.
Really? That's amazing.
Not the same cast anymore, but I'm sure.
Not. Oh. Huh. I hope you'll forgive me, but I've sort of gotten a hold of this idea of just doing a bunch of terrible covers to raise awareness for music and art. The idea that if we don't go forward, we will go backward.
Let's do that.
I personally, I do have a very American-centric, probably American-centric, unfortunately American-centric view of things. But I was just thinking that two of the German-speaking artists, one of whom is Austrian, the other is Peter Schilling and Falco come to mind. And I'm just thinking that I could probably do one of Falco's songs in German, which I don't speak at all.
I mean, Falco's songs are half English anyway, so.
Half English. I'm just, And
it's not German, by the way, it's Austrian, which is a hell of a lot different. I mean, it's easy to understand for Germans, most words, but it's still, I couldn't pronounce it without sounding really ridiculous to real Austrians or other Germans.
Well,
so it's much better if you do it.
International audience, I have now admitted my deep ignorance. I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem. I couldn't count up to, more than 10 American states, so that's fine.
Huh. Well, how are things in terms of just what you can do electronically? How's your Patreon going?
I think it's going well. I only have a handful of patrons, but they're very dedicated, and some of them upped their pledge when the quarantine started. I didn't ask them to because I don't want money from people who can't afford it. But the Patreon is kind of a safe space, and for me, it's become really important in the quarantine as a measure of motivating myself, keeping myself being an artist. Like what I do now is I do a little thing like playing one song on the piano and singing every day and post it to my Patreons just to keep me going. And so far people enjoy it. I mean, nobody is obliged to watch that. And sometimes I did a cover, but it's baby cover, and some old songs I haven't played in years and stuff like this. And it keeps me going, especially on bad days when I think I haven't done anything like anything today, but at least I have to go to the piano and play a song for the Patreon. So that's a good thing.
I think I need to actually check my Patreon settings because I don't think I'm getting those alerts, and I may have it set to go to my alternate email address. So I should
maybe. I just know you are a patron. Thank you so much.
Patron, and I hope to re-up the patronage when the new book comes out. I have a little more cash. Speaking of those of you who can, if you are interested in hearing more of Feline's work or more Feline and Strange, check out the link below. I can't tell right from left on this yet. Check out the link below.
From left to right.
Patreon.com/Feline.
I can't even point there because it ends on my here. Yep, that would be amazing actually, and I promise you will not be disappointed. You might be a bit shocked of some things, but that's all right. No, I mean this is a place where I post everything, and it's actually paying off if you are interested in what we do, the writing or the singing or some obscure stuff we did live and never will publish on any other channels. I wrote a movie. That's the treatment is also there. And if you want to be in the movie, you should be a Patreon. Help me finish that treatment. So there's a lot of weird things going on, but it's definitely a family. So I try to center all my efforts on Patreon now and keep this family growing. It has been a lot of help to me, and I'm happy to say that some people told me it has been a lot of help to them.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Me too.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've been getting all these email updates from Frenchie and the Punk, and I don't know if I'm getting email updates from you. I will have to check my email.
And something is going wrong there. You're definitely still on the list.
My email may
I get all yours.
Oh, well, that's good or goodish at least. Well, we've got a couple minutes left. You just released a new album, as you
oh yeah,
remind me.
Isn't that a great time to release a record? Especially when you're planning on a big tour on 3 continents to promote it. Yay! Yep, it's called Trigger Warning, and people tell me it's very prophetic. I had no idea. Probably some weird part of my brain knew that when the album was coming out, everybody would be wearing breathing masks or getting anxiety and depression or be stuck at home, and because this is what the songs are all about. Also about believing or not in what you read on the internet, and about about terrible feelings that you can't fight and stuff like that.
I've found the music that I've heard so far to be extremely cathartic, especially at a difficult time.
Thank you. That's something I actually try to achieve. I'm a theater person, so cathartic is a big word for me.
It's a big word for me too. I really don't know any words larger than 3 syllables.
Wow.
No, seriously. The videos have been extremely moving and rather disturbing, if I might say.
Yeah, especially with Can't Breathe, that was the intention. I mean, the song is disturbing as well, and it had to be something that went even beyond the music. Inappropriate wasn't supposed to be disturbing at all. When we released that on Friday the 13th of March, the video, I mean, we had no idea that next day Berlin would close their clubs, and so the scene where the people with the breathing masks enter the club and stop the big party. Oh, sorry, I had no idea.
Just to just to get an idea of what the future looks like. The next time you have an idea for an album, let us know what it is so that we can prepare. That
will be on Patreon, obviously. I mean, the whole album was released on Patreon before we even went to the US to record it.
So those who follow you on Patreon could have gone out and gotten masks ahead of everyone else.
Yes. You know what? Some actually did, because we had planned on having the breathing masks all over the artwork we have. Hang on a sec.
Totally.
This is the art book I made for the album, and I mean, there's literally it's a medical report, you see, and there's literally breathing masks all over it, and also the mascot, the Schnuffy Creep, came out of the breathing mask, and people dancing around in underwear and dying, and this is. I had no idea it would turn out like this, and I had no idea that we were actually fucked. But I made this months ago, and it was printed even before the virus. So not my fault. I did not summon the apocalypse. I'm sorry.
Oh, you just predicted it. It's okay.
Yeah, right. People should just listen to me. If you would listen to me for once, all of you, then all of this would not maybe would probably have happened anyway. But you know what I mean. You could have bought breathing masks in advance. We had stocked up on them actually because we wanted. That's what I wanted to tell. We had them. We have them also in our stage show, and probably not anymore because right now it would look silly. But we had planned a lot of stuff with them and painted the grin on that, and so we had a huge stock of them for the Steam Ball for the record release, which became the Stream Ball. I mean, people misspell steampunk anyway, so to stream punk via autocorrect. So we thought, why not do a stream punk festival? And we had bought hundreds of the breathing masks before the virus even was a thing, and wanted to hand them out for people to toy around with them and keep them as a keepsake of the festival. We donated them, obviously, even the ones with the creepy grin on. Yeah, but yeah.
I just have an image of someone. I mean, fortunately, I'm glad that person's going to get the breathing mask, but just,
Yep.
I am kind of thinking of, say, my mom, who's wonderful, just getting a donated breathing mask and just looking at it and going like this for a while.
Yeah. We had some with eyes on because, like in the video for Can't Breathe and for Inappropriate, we had them over the mouth and over the eyes. So that's where the eyes were even more silly. People looked like pigs with big noses and tracks. So.
And people can find those on YouTube. They can just look up Feline and Strange.
Yep.
And you are at felineandstrange.com and felineandstrange.bandcamp.com, I believe.
Exactly. This is where you can. The only place, by the way, where you can get this art book and also the CD version of the album. We only released it worldwide in the download version, which neither does have the trigger warnings. So the Bandcamp version has 25 tracks. It's 13 songs, and the rest of it as an overture and interludes, which make the whole thing more theatrical, like an audio theater. It's that's what I always intended with the music, to tell the story. And these interludes help a lot. And they are very creepy.
Do you think, if possible, someone should try to listen to it all at one sitting? If they can?
I don't know. I mean, I had people telling me that they couldn't stand it. Other people did, but they're people like professional vampires. And so, yeah, and I'm not kidding you.
Oh, they're professional vampires.
So I guess they are used to that kind level of creepiness, and also they're immortal, so maybe not that scared of talking about death as we are. So. But yeah, I think it's hard stuff. It's not something you could keep on rotation. Maybe some songs. I know a lot of people really like Inappropriate and have it on rotation, and Pretty Please is also something you could dance to, and a few more. But I doubt anybody will ever listen to I Am an Iceberg twice in a row. And if so, you will get a lower breath. I couldn't.
Well, that's just a dare,
Yeah.
I have to try this now.
Oh, please.
It's exciting. Feline, I'm still quite new to the video thing, so I kind of want to close out while I am ahead before I manage to say anything more ridiculous than not knowing the difference between German and Austrian.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to blame you anyway. I just wanted to disclaim that I can't speak Austrian German.
Well, I can barely. I speak English, and I know a couple of words of French. That's about as far as I go.
It's a lot. That's more than most Americans, as far as I know, right?
And I can name at least 11 states, as far as I can remember.
Good.
But I would love to have you on the show again, if I might.
Oh, yes, please.
Fantastic. Feline, is there anything you would like to say to the audience before we go?
Stay sane.
Well, in that case, I will just add, stay crazy.
You're right. You can do both at the same time, you know.
That is very true. Well, Feline, thank you again. And for those watching, please do check out her work at felineandstrange.com, Feline and Strange on Bandcamp, and patreon.com, just Feline, as you can see below right there. Thank you, Feline. I'll talk to you soon.
Hope to see you there. And thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Bye.